Yeah, certainly progress in certain situations. I think the biggest thing was just that was as real of a game atmosphere as we could put them in. And I think certainly from a quarterback standpoint, the learning lesson of the night before, the morning before, getting yourself ready for a game, never too high, never too low, certainly showed up. Was pleased really with the execution, particularly with the twos. Thought they moved the ball extremely well up and down the field. Thought there were missed opportunities early with the ones, but was excited to see them battle back as the scrimmage continued on.
Coach, I'm sure you were able to hear Coach Duke's comments kind of about the QB battle / competition yesterday up in Louisville. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that, but then also kind of, I don't know, if you can take us kind of behind the curtain since you've been doing this for quite some time, kind of what goes into that, when's kind of the right time to make that information public?
Yeah, you probably know the answer to that question, right? For as long as we've done it. So there's never a right time, I guess, until the lead up with your football team. But, the evaluation is this: every day matters. We all know that, right? You guys were just out here. The last 15 minutes of this practice were about as realistic of a 2-minute scenario that we've had all year, right? Maybe since I've been here. And so we're constantly evaluating these guys and their progression. Cutter's doing a lot of really good things. And I think you guys know that. To see where he's come from last year to this year, just his mental approach, how calm he is out there, and he is pushing the needle on this thing in a big way. Obviously, Zach's doing a really nice job as well. I mean, we're very fortunate to have both these guys here. That's the reality of the situation. It's an interesting situation because the more veteran guy just got here probably about 4 or 5 months ago, and the newcomer's in his second year, and that's a huge thing too. So taking it one day at a time, we're fortunate both these guys are here. Both of them are going to have to win football games for us when we look at the history of this conference, and taking it one step at a time.
Last year you obviously played Brock and Gavin early, both at Boise State, and you played 2 guys. Is there a scenario when you play both quarterbacks?
I don't really think so. I think some of those in both of those scenarios was a little bit more of the athletic factor that both Gavin presented and with Taylor Green and Maddox at Boise. I think we're in a situation we need to get the one guy as comfortable as he can get with who he's playing with. But I'm going to keep saying that we feel very confident in both those guys doing a nice job.
How do you feel about communication right now, O-line and the quarterbacks?
I don't want to say just okay. We're still, every day is so critical. I think it's a great question because the communication piece is critical. We always say you can hear a good football team from the standpoint of the communication, not only from the quarterback to the offensive line, right, but the offensive line to the running backs in protection, the skill players. So communication, we call it winning the pre-snap, is flat out the most important thing we're working on every single day. We've got to be able to get lined up fast. We've got to be able to execute our cadence. So many things are happening before the ball's even snapped, and that's a huge part of what we're trying to get done.
Coach, what did you learn about your offense over the last 3 weeks during fall camp?
I think it's an extremely professional group. I think it's a blue-collar group. I really think that. I think the players we brought in, again, I've said it, maybe it's one of those unintended positives of the way college football is nowadays. These players know, like, they're playing for a lot. And when they come in, whether you're a freshman, a sophomore, or a junior, how you play dictates a lot, and so I just really feel from the offensive line standpoint, from the 2 veteran backs, to the veteran leadership we have at tight end, it's a group that goes after their business. And I think that's going to be critical, handling the ups and downs of the year like we all know in this conference, to keep us to where we got to be.
You've made it pretty clear that 2 backs are going to take a lot of the lion's share of the carry, and that receivers are pretty interchangeable. So how do you manage those personnel decisions when you're up in the booth calling plays? Who's in, what plays are going to each player, and so on and so forth?
Certainly with the running backs, there's things that one back does better than the other back, and so I think when you talk about run schemes of inside zone, outside zone, gap schemes, you always want to tailor what you're doing based off of what they feel more comfortable in. I think with the receivers right now, again, I think it's going to be more of a situation where we're going to play a decent amount of guys, see how they react to the bright lights, see how productive they can be, and not be maybe as specific of who's in there doing what. because I think it'll be a good competition, and I think there's about 6 or 7 guys that'll be ready to play. You good?
What you mentioned in the scrimmage, the twos looked really good, maybe the ones struggled at times. How do you factor in your evaluation, the competition, and those things? I mean, obviously, you aren't going against the first team defense. And how much does that play into that?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's never an exact science in that regard, right? You might have one guy, like we've talked about, who's taking 75% with the ones and so on and so forth, but Cutters deserve the opportunities he's got with the ones. He's been able to move the ball well with them, and so we're always looking at that, but you just try to do the best you can with getting them as much reps with the ones and comparing that to the whole group.
Have you seen leadership where you need to see leadership?
You never know the answer to that question until you get hit with adversity, and so I remember I had an old coach would say, hey, how's our leadership? And he'd say it in the summer, and you give the answer, and he's like, we'll find out. I think we've got a large part of experienced, mature players that have been there. So I'm excited about that. What I need to see is the veteran receiver when he's not getting 6 touches like he wants to. How's he going to handle it? How's the quarterback going to handle it when things aren't going well? How are we going to respond when we're down 14? Those types of things. How are we going to respond when we're up 14? But I do think, this is a group that's a professional group. It's an offensive line that handles their business, backs that have a lot to prove, know what it takes, and we're going to hang our hat on that.
Coach, finding the end zone might have been maybe more of a struggle than you anticipated last year. But you said in some of the scrimmages you guys were able to put some points up on the board. How confident are you in this group? What's maybe the biggest change between last year's group and this year's group in getting to that end zone?
Yeah, I'm confident in this group. We've certainly put a lot of stress on the red zone and how we practice, going all the way back to the summer. I think the backs will help us. They're 2 big physical backs. I think you guys know that. Going to be able to make guys miss. I think the biggest thing for us offensively is really yards after contact, right? And that could be running backs, it could be wide receivers, any of the ball carriers. We've got to turn 4-yard plays into explosive plays, and a lot of times that's where those explosives come from. So we got to be able to create, make some people miss, get some easy ones, if you will, and then go execute in critical situations.
So any closer to finding that wide receiver one that you spoke about earlier?
I don't really feel so, and not saying that as a frustrating thing. I think I don't know if any one guy has just completely taken that role. I think there's certain guys that are more reliable, if you will, know where to be, play hard all the time. There's certain guys that have high level of talent. They got to play more consistent, and that's what it's going to be. I mean, it's a situation for all 7 or 8 of those guys. They know it. It's going to come down to their effort, their ability to know what to do, and the attitude they have, and the guys that will do that will play.
How just anxious are you that fall camp is transitioning to game prep just to gear up for an actual game?
Yeah, it's always why you do this. You know what I mean? We've been OTAs and spring ball and fall camp for a long, long time, and so now it's here, and so there's still finishing touches I think every coach has to stay focused on when you finish camp, because these practices are probably some of the most important practices, like 15 and 16. Everybody's mind is always going to what's next, but we got to stay focused for another day or 2 until we turn our focus to Toledo.
Okay, John, last one.
Which it sounded like neither Seth or Dante did much in either of the 2 scrimmages. You guys kind of help them out to protect their bodies. How do you balance that? Protecting guys who are going to take a lot of hits, but they're both new and they're learning your offense and trying to build that chemistry with everybody around. How do you find that balance?
Yeah, never easy. I think probably analyzing the difference between a guy being a new versus inexperienced, and so even though he's new at Kentucky, we've been able to watch, 400 carries on those guys in live situations, and ultimately when it's close, especially with those 2 big backs that are going to take a good amount of hits during the year, we leaned on how much we've already seen of them in big time football games.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So how do you think it's coming along so far? Now that you're less than 2 weeks away from playing?
Good. It's been a really good fall camp. Things are really starting to come together, starting to bring all the boys along, starting to really put some stuff together. We're really looking good. We're moving fast and moving efficiently right now.
What do you think you've learned from this fall camp?
A ton. This is probably the most into it I've ever been, and this is like the best ball I think I've ever played right now is this fall camp. And I've took a lot of steps, especially one of the biggest ones being just in the command of everything, the operation. Not just being a good thrower, but being a good all-around quarterback and being the captain and commander of the offense for sure.
Coach talked about your all's ability to convert in those 2-minute situations. What's the key to making sure you are comfortable in those 2-minute situations?
Getting completions and know what you're doing, knowing your reads are, know where your eyes are going to go. Just getting completions, getting the playmakers, and letting them do the rest of the work for me.
Do you have any sort of targets that you've become really comfortable with, that you've created a chemistry with?
Hey, starting camp, I knew a few guys from last year, but now it's just like I can close my eyes. Whoever's out there is fine with me. You know what I mean? You can throw it all around the board. You can put Cam Miller, the true freshman, in, and you can put Jamori in. They're going to do their thing. You know what I mean? They're all better at certain things, but they're all going to go out there and bust their tail and give it their all. And you know what I mean? Like I said, I can close my eyes. We can have any 4 guys out there, any combination. It don't matter to me. I trust all those guys to go out there and make a play.
Coaches have talked pretty highly of how you've performed this fall camp. Is that something that you love to hear, or how do you just respond whenever you are seemingly getting praise every corner?
I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm just taking it one step at a time, and you know what I mean? I'm just trying my best and doing the best with what I can and what they give me, and that's all I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? Trying to be a second extension of Coach Hamden and the offense, and just do what they asked me to do.
Coach just said you and Zach have really been battling. So how does that, what's the result you want to see from that battle? What do you want to get out of this competition over fall camp?
I'm just excited to be out here and competing. I'm just preparing like I'm going to be the starter. I'm preparing that, at any point, whenever my time comes, I'm going to be 100% ready. And that's all really I'm thinking about. When my time comes, it'll come. I'm going to handle the stuff I can handle right now and do the best of what I can do.
Is that hard? Right, to just stay engaged no matter what, even if you are going to play?
That's a big growth spurt, especially from last year. You know what I mean? Focus on the now, not the future. Just doing the best and being the best at what I can now. You know what I mean? Things will fall into place how they need to fall in place. You know what I mean? God's always got a plan. So if I just do the best and try the best at what I can now and do the most with the opportunities they give me, you know what I mean? Things will fall in place how I want them.
Obviously,
Does it help in the preparation for?
the twos looked really good on Saturday. What's the difference when you're going against the second defense versus when you do get 1 reps out there? Can you tell a difference in the challenge? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys subbing in and out. You know, I don't really pay much attention to it. You know what I mean? I played against our defense long enough now. You know what I mean? I know I can look out there and see the guys, safeties, whatever, who's in the game. But that don't really matter to me. I'm trying to, you know what I mean, see what they're doing pre-snap, and then who's really out there. I'm not really paying too much attention to, especially on the defensive side.
So,
Yeah.
fall camp, it's nearing the end of the road. What do you think you learned just about your offensive line throughout the last 3.5 weeks?
I've learned from my offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, that the more we do, the harder stuff we do together, the closer we get together. And it's in that bond of doing hard stuff together that gets us tougher. I've learned that.
What's some of the hard stuff?
Well, coming out here, performing at a high consistent level, not letting external factors influence your play, stuff like that.
Is there something about this offense that maybe you didn't know going into fall camp that was like, oh, so we can do this year? Like, we're this guy, he's better than I thought.
Well, what do you mean?
Maybe
Like
going into
people?
people, or maybe even just how you all function. Is there anything that was a sort of eureka moment during this process?
Well, I noticed that out in space, we handle stuff pretty well. We got some really athletic tackles.
And you're one of them.
Yep. Yeah, Wolvie, I'm mentioning him.
Yeah.
And Malachi, of course.
Yeah. What's the partnership with the guy on your inside like? How does that relationship work? How does it flow?
Josh?
Yeah.
We communicate. It's like synergy. We're trying to understand how each other move in unison throughout the play.
How much of that is spoken versus unspoken?
A lot of it's spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is very important, both verbal and nonverbal. So
I know one-on-ones is always a fun time.
yeah,
Always a good time. Is
It's,
there?
they say that you're at a disadvantage because the D line is pin their ears back and they go upfield. So it's definitely a moment where you truly have to work on your fundamentals and technique, and it's a good time to work on some moves, perhaps perform something you've been thinking of.
Is there one player in particular that you go up against where there are some serious battles? Makes for fun competition.
Yeah, big time. I've gone against Steven Souls, Grace, McQueese. Who else gives me trouble? And Cam Olds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those three really have been a trifecta, I guess. The people that give me the most trouble.
What is
really good pass rushers? I got to give them credit for it.
What is it about Grace? We saw Soul some as a freshman, and we've seen some from Olds in the MAC level. What is it about Grace that makes him difficult?
Well, he plays really hard. He strains throughout the entire play up until the whistle. I've noticed that, and he's really working hard to get to the quarterback. I mean, he plays it like it's like fourth quarter kind of mentality. So I respect that.
Olds seems like he's got a lot of length. Is that something that can give you troubles? Cam Olds?
Cam?
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays with length. More times though, he's using his hands. He's really working my hands at least.
Fall camp's nearing a close. Just how excited are you to be able to take off the practice jersey and put on a real one?
Well, incredibly ecstatic. This entire fall camp has been a good reflection point. It's a lot of development that happened here, so I'm looking forward to the future.
How do you think you have developed the most throughout this process?
Well, particularly endurance, acclimating to the heat, the weather here. That's been something I've had to work on. It's a factor I've had to include. Apart from the speed, the movement, the size, everything here is enhanced. So
It's going to be hot in week 1.
yeah, I'm aware.
Do you guys have like up front? Do you have like a calling card or anything that you all are like when times get tough? This is kind of what you all lean on to make sure you all do push through those challenges.
Coach Hamden gave us one. It was breathe in through your nose. So when it's the dog days and perhaps you're in the red zone or whatnot, and you just need to make the play, and everyone is fatigued or whatnot. Coach Bush says to breathe through your nose.
And does it work?
Yeah, it's a mentality thing. So
Awesome.
console, but I figured there wouldn't be a TV there to set it up, so I was like, nah. I did have Risk, European version, and it's not like regular Risk where it's the entire world. It's just Europe. So I figured we're gonna be there for a day and then some. I'll retreat back in Cedarmore. It was a good time with the guys. I'm sure Josh might have mentioned that if anything, it devolved into chaos between the 4 nations that we played. Jagger ended up winning. The campaign lasted for at least 2.5 hours, is because we were trying to learn the rules. None of us had ever played, and we're rolling through the rule book, and everyone's kind of just making up stuff, and we're going along with it. It's kind of bastardized. It's pretty cool.
You think moments like that, time together off the field, will really come in handy when you're game week 10, 11, you guys are tired, maybe a little banged up, fourth quarter, all that stuff?
Oh yeah, camaraderie is incredibly important. And if anything, you're doing it for the guys next to you. So you need that kind of trust and camaraderie.
At about an 80% field goal rate at this level, at the collegiate level. So we feel like we got 2 really good options there. And then we got 2 really good options at punter. with Aiden leading the way, obviously being our guy. And I just feel really good about the specialist room from the kicker and punter standpoint altogether.
How much of a hard time did you all give Aiden about his 0 toughness rating in the
Man,
video?
we as coaches didn't know it, but the kids, obviously, they were on him about that, man, from day one. I think Wilson came up and told me before anybody else. He's like, he's got a 0 toughness on the game. I'm like, what? Punter? And anyway, make a long story short, I mean, I didn't give him any flack, but the kids did.
Seems like a former rugby player should probably not have.
Man, that is, you know what, that's one of the things. That's a video game, right? It's not the real thing. You know, those guys don't have any idea what they're talking about, what they're working with. I actually teased Dante in our room. I call him 88 because that's his overall rating on the game. So he's called affectionately 88 in our room.
And then at return, obviously you guys lose Barry on one of the best kick returners in SEC history. How do you feel about how that showed up?
Well, you know, it's for me, I feel like we're going in the right direction. But I said this before, I said it again, man. Barryon did a phenomenal job, and he's one of the best in the country, but that unit was the best in the country. And those other 10 guys did a really good job. There's a couple of those where he was not even touched. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. You want that type of consistency, and I think the teams in this league, they all know what we're about, as well as the teams that are not in this league that we've played multiple times like Louisville. They know what we're about. They sprayed the ball all over the park last year. They did not give us an opportunity to really get it going. They just gave up that field position as opposed to trying to kick it deep and run a risk of us, you know, taking it to the house on them again and creating some momentum. So that's kind of what we're preparing for. We expect guys to acknowledge the fact that, you know what, we've been the best in the country a couple of years ago, and so I don't think we're too far off from that in terms of the other 10. We got to find the right returner, but I think the other 10 are doing a good job.
When I talked to Seth a couple weeks ago, he said you were one of the only coaches who kept in touch with him through this whole process after what happened in Oklahoma. What about that relationship was so special and kind of helped you guys reunite at this point too?
Well, I just think this in recruiting process, man, and especially if you sign a kid, right? You know, those relationships don't end there, you know. Obviously, you can't tamper and those type of things, but when he was down and nobody else was talking to the kid, I mean, I wanted to still be there. You know, I wanted to let him know that, hey, man, look, you know, trouble doesn't last forever. You know what I mean? We all go through some tough times, man, and you don't have to fight your way out of this, but I also want him to know that God has got him. God is with you. And so, you know, I was, you know, as this is my calling, I feel like my job is so much bigger than just trying to be there for a guy because he can do something for me. It's not about that. It's about helping developing these young men and giving them a resource and not letting them lose hope so someday they can be young men and growing to be grown men as well too, fathers, husbands, you know, co-workers, uncles, and all that type of stuff. And so that's what it was all about. It's just who we are.
Bush mentioned that, you know, it's going to be two guys, right? It's going to be Seth and it's going to be Dowdell. So what's your responsibility to make sure that those guys are in at the right time for the right situation?
You know, I like to try to develop our guys into being able to do just about everything. So, you know, there's going to be some play calls and whatnot that we want a particular guy in. That's going to be built in the call. So we'll be able to get those guys in. Other than that, man, I just try to, you know, keep those guys fresh. I'd much rather have a fresh guy running at guys rather than a guy that's just tired and, you know, he's getting worn down and whatnot. You know, that's how we were last year. We had really and truly one guy that knew everything, that could do everything right. And I had some young talented freshmen that didn't do everything right, that wasn't running the right way. And people blame the line for stuff, and then it's really my young back that's going the wrong way or taking the wrong steps and all that stuff. So, you know, this is a different situation now. We got veterans that are there that make the right reads, or take the right steps to pick up pass pro. They're big, they're physical. I look forward to seeing them on the field in a live setting. So we can just roll. We got, you know, our other two guys that were younger last year. Jay Patton is a redshirt freshman and Marr as a redshirt sophomore. You know, those guys are ready as well. If one of those other two guys fall out, then we just plug and play with the next guy up.
Sometimes you'll get a hot hand. So how do you just What's the process of learning of when maybe this guy's in his own and you let him play through some fatigue because he's feeling good? Is that just something you gotta see out there in a game-like situation?
Yeah, there's not a process of learning. I've done it before. Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, you know what I mean? I've had, multiple backs be able to run and get 1,000 yards, which is pretty productive. And yes, you're right. Hot hands. If a guy gets hot, in the second half and I see that he's hotter than the other guy, then we're probably going to do that. But I don't want to predetermine what that looks like at this point. I'm going to wait to see what it looks like on the grass and just kind of develop. So it's just one of those things. It's not a thing where I'm sitting there trying to say, well, how do I do this? It's not about how to do it. It's about doing it. And that's where we are with it right now.
You guys have been real,
So long fall camp, what'd you learn about the team that maybe you didn't know going into fall camp?
What I learned about the team? I think that we got a lot of guys that are very relentless, man, and really want it. You know what I'm saying? And I know we talked about it before going into fall camp, but this fall camp, it really showed we got a bunch of leaders that can take over different roles and just be able to hold each other accountable. And I think that I've seen that a lot through fall camp has helped us.
You're getting closer though to the game. So how much do you start getting that itch? What are the feelings like now that the game's right around the corner?
Going against the defense all the time. You really ready to go against somebody else. But it's been great, man. We've been taking it day by day. As games get closer, you get a little bit more anxious. But we've been prepping. The coaches have laid out a good plan for us to, when it comes to the weight room, when it comes to meetings, when it comes to the field work, very well. So we're ready to roll.
We've seen a difference in Cutter. The coaches have seen a difference in Cutter. You got a different perspective. You're catching passes from him. So what have you seen from his growth?
It's freaking from spring to now. It looked like I don't even know who he is at this point. He's freaking, man. He played amazing this whole fall camp. Not to toot his horn, but man, he's done a really good job. Him and Zach both. But he's taking that next step. I mean, he went from here to here, out of nowhere. And we're proud of him. We knew he had it in him. It just probably took a little bit to get it out of him. Man, he's done a great job of taking that step as a leader too.
So what exactly was that where you could see the specific improvement? Is it accuracy, decision making?
He always, when it comes to his decision making, has been very, very good compared to spring. Of course, he's probably young, so it kind of took a little bit slow down for him. But I think it slowed down very well for him. He's quick with his decisions, man. He's knowing what guys are getting lined up at. He's orchestrating guys. You know what I'm saying? He's doing a very good job. So.
Have you seen things slow down for some of the young guys in the wide receiver room?
Yeah, they're getting it. As fall camp first started to now, they've done a really good job, even from spring. So just bringing them along, man. Keep teaching them until at some point, whenever the older guys are going, those young guys can step up for us.
What's that competition like in your room?
That's really good, man. We all got a lot of good guys, man, that can do a lot of good stuff. Even the young guys are competing. They even making me, make sure I'm always on my A game. But man, it's a really good job. We push each other every day. We know that it's competition, but we know that it's all love at the end, and we're gonna have to win together. So.
What about this heat? You ready for it to be over with?
Hey, you see me? I'm about ready to leave now. It's hot. I'm hot, man. I'm tired.
It's gonna be hot week one.
I'm ready for it. It's just hard when you out here fall camp running around for 2.5 hours. You know what I'm saying? You fall camp 3.5 weeks. You're getting tired mentally, all the meetings and stuff. You're just really ready to play. So.
Hey man, good luck.